with Heroesmart Homeschool Academy. Welcome to TOS Friday. We're in chapter 2, Natural Laws. If you're ready, let's begin with the word of prayer. We thank you, Lord, for this time we have to learn and grow. We seek to do the best we can and add to what we know. We love you, God, with all our heart. With others' love we show. Pleasing you is our goal. Now to our lesson we shall go. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Well, welcome back to class. It's really good to have you. We're reading from the Overcomer Secret book, and this is the second week. Did you enjoy last week? I did too. We're now in chapter 2. Chapter 2 is called Natural Laws. A natural law is any law or a law is anything that's designed to work a certain way. And so we have lots of laws in the land. You know, mommy and daddy have laws. The city has its laws. The state and government has its laws. Well, God has laws as well. In fact, our understanding and appreciation of laws come from what we know from God and from His ways trickling down to our ways. So let's think of a law. Let's think of an example of a law. Have you ever heard your mother or father say, "Don't eat too much candy"? And you say, "Oh, I'm eating candy. Don't eat too much. You can have 1 or 2 small pieces and then be done." Sometimes they'll tell you why. Sometimes they'll say, because if you eat too much candy, you'll get sick. And there are times when they may not explain all of it, because perhaps if they try to explain all of the whole law, perhaps it'll just be boring. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. So they just say, just obey what I tell you to do. Just don't eat too much candy. Sometimes, and actually every time, it's best just to obey, because mommy and daddy, they know more than us, don't they? This is true across the board. Whoever your guardians are and whoever God has placed over you, they just know more. That's all. And so they can tell you about laws, or they can create laws to protect you. And if we're obedient, we'll obey those laws. Now, today we're talking about natural laws, and a natural law is any law that you can find in creation. So, we talked last week briefly about the law of gravity. You remember law of gravity? I said law of gravity. Let's think about law of gravity. Law of gravity says that if I toss this eraser into the air, guess what's going to happen to the eraser? If I toss it way up, eventually the eraser is going to have to come back down. Eventually, it'll have to. I toss it up, and then eventually it's going to. So let's give it a shot. Are you ready? We're going to give it a shot and see if it works for us. Toss it up and down. You toss it up again and down. If I toss it up one more time, maybe this time it'll stay in the air. Do you think it's going to stay in the air when I toss it up? No, it's not. Let's see. No, it came back down. We call that the law of gravity. It's a law, and it works every time. And it's designed by God to basically, for lots of reasons, really. He created that law so that everything can stay down. Now, there are some things that can break past that law of gravity using another law, which we're not going to talk about here because you're like 6 or 7. But you have airplanes that can get past that law using other laws. But essentially, the law of gravity keeps everything down and helps us to eat and swallow our food. When you drink water, the water doesn't come out of your nose, and you drink, it goes down. So everything is always pushing in a downward mode. And that's important to know, because God didn't design the law of gravity to hurt us. Did He say, okay, I want you to go and jump off of a tower? No, He didn't do that, did He? No, He designed the law of gravity to help us so that we could eat and food would go down. We can walk. What would happen if we started trying to, if we wanted to walk to the store or walk to our bedroom, and instead of walking, we start floating sometimes, other times because, law of gravity may work today and it may not work tomorrow. Maybe we start, doing all these funny motions. No, it keeps us down. It keeps us leveled. And it works for us. It helps us to live and have successful, prosperous lives. Without that law, we would be in a lot of trouble, because we wouldn't be able to make a lot of progress, would we? We wouldn't. Sometimes we start floating, we start running into things. It'd be really difficult. And so God gave us that law for good reasons. However, even though he gave us that law with really good reasons, we thank you, Lord, for the law of gravity. Thank you, Lord. But guess what would happen if I decide now, well, I think I want to climb to the top of my roof and jump down. I might hurt myself because of the law of gravity. The law says I have to come down. If I jump off this house, I'm going down. So even though the law is good, it can hurt us if we're not careful. In the same way, Adam and Eve didn't realize that there were laws in place governing God's creation, which is important. That has to be the case, but they can't be violated. Now, if we do what we're meant to do, if we're obedient to God and to our parents, then the laws will work perfectly. However, if we choose to violate, upset, or disrespect the laws, what's going to happen? We're coming down, aren't we? It's going to go down. It's going to hurt us really badly. So we'd rather use the law of gravity for walking and eating and giving thanks to God and not for jumping off towers. Is that right? Or jumping off rooftops. And so the law of gravity is really good. I also want to talk briefly about the law of seed time and harvest. The law of seed time and harvest basically says that I take seed, I plant them in the ground so that I can bear, so I can get some sort of crop from it. If your parents have a garden, if you ever seen someone with a garden, they have, maybe they have tomato plants and bell pepper plants, and maybe they have kale and spinach growing. They may even have some apple or citrus trees or whatever it is that they may be growing. Before that tree became a tree, it started out as a seed. You take that seed, you put it in the ground, you cover it up with lots of soil, you add some water, and you take care of it. You continue to tend to it as often as you can. And as often as needed, you tend to it. And guess what you can expect? Eventually, you can expect a little sprout. And then you can expect it to just keep getting bigger and bigger. And eventually, you'll have a small tree full of apples, even if it takes a whole year, So that's the great thing about the law. It's called seed, time, and harvest. Is that you can actually expect to get a harvest eventually, even though it doesn't happen immediately. So some laws, like the law of gravity, happen immediately. If I jump off the rooftop, I'm coming down immediately. If I take a bite of food, I can expect it to go down when I swallow immediately. Some laws take more time to produce results, such as seed time and harvest. I sow that seed. Do I get a tree the very next day? Oh, do I get a tree 2 days later? No, I have to wait, don't I? I do. So that's what we're talking about in chapter 2, natural laws. Thank you so much for coming to class today. If you have your worksheet, you may pull it out and go ahead and complete the exercise there. I think you'll find that it's kind of fun. And until next time,
I'll be your hero's buddy, and as you study with Heroesmart, I will be your friend. So don't you